Thank you, Dina. So now I'm going to have the hat of a moderator, and I would like to introduce you the next panel. That is Mr. Gerasimos Tzeis. It's the managing director of Atradius.
Hi, Dimitris. How are you?
Καλησπέρα. Eleni Almpanti, it's from Exportgate and iServices. Hi, Eleni.
Hello.
And also Tim Lombardo, who is the Senior Director of VAS Consulting. Hi, Tim. Good
Hello.
morning.
Good morning. Good afternoon.
So I would like to thank you, and we are going to introduce to our audience, first of all, Makis, Mr. Tzeis is going to introduce us to the risks in doing business in the United States. So let's first, the floor is yours, Gerasimos, and I would like to ask you, I mean, how does the credit insurance help an exporter to successfully penetrate and expand to US market?
Thank you, Dimitri, for the question. Hello to all the friends of the Hellenic American Society and who are online right now. Let me start my thoughts by sharing that I believe that the exports and the extroversy overall is a decisive element for our economy to achieve its growth targets. Personally, I feel high. I mean, I really have serious appreciation and deep faith to our exporters who are ingenious and well capable. Not to mention that they have survived a protracted period of crisis and difficult years in the past. So not only I am sure that they will survive abroad, but they will triumph. And I would like to just repeat what our Prime Minister said last night in the dinner of the summit, that last year it was an exceptional year of exports, and especially to the US of A, an equally exceptional year. Speaking about credit insurance, credit insurance is a modern, multitasking financial tool that the exporter can use to boost its growth abroad and to achieve its targets abroad. For the ones who do not already know what credit insurance is, let me repeat that credit insurance is the insurance which protects the exporter against the likelihood to suffer a non-payment by one of his buyers abroad to whom he has sold goods or services on credit. So, to make the long story short, in case the buyer abroad doesn't pay our exporter, we will pay the money that are missing. This insurance is provided to the exporter via credit limits, which credit limits are being requested by the exporter for each one of the buyers abroad and equal to the maximum exposure with this very buyer abroad. The insurer, in order to approve or not to approve the credit limit, the insurance, he has prior evaluate the credit worthiness of the buyer. And this is being done by either the empirical information that we have at hand or the financial information that we have at hand. Atradius is a leader in the global stage of credit insurance, and especially in Greece, we are the market leaders for the last many consecutive years, during which years we have developed a massive database of companies, which consists of more than 200 million companies abroad, whose financials we periodically, consistently, systematically revise again and again. So I ask you to visualize the credit insurer as a heavy factory of absorbing information for this huge database of hundreds of millions of companies. Why? Why should we do that? In order to update our opinion for all these buyers abroad and have the optimum view for their credit worthiness. So to be able to provide limits to our exporters for wherever on every buyer they can sell wherever in the planet. So via our platforms, the exporter can sell on credit and take our plafonds and grow safely. So via this, we provide the first benefit of a credit insurance, which is safe growth abroad. Once we approve a credit limit for a specific buyer, then our real job begins. Why? Because this buyer takes position in this huge database of companies abroad, for which we, as I said, we again and again revise our opinion. And in case in the next 3 months or 6 months or more, 1 year, we detect a deterioration of the credit worthiness of the buyer, something goes wrong, or there are late payments, there are some financial difficulties whatsoever, then we, in time, inform our exporter to either lower his transactions or else his exposures to this very buyer, or if in the worst case scenario, to interrupt his transactions and stop his exposure to this buyer. And in this way, we achieve what we would like to do, to save his money by preventing him to sell on credit to non-credit worthy buyers. And this is the second, and for me, the most valuable benefit of credit insurance: prophylaxis. Prophylaxis, or else avoidance of problems. However, because we do not know everything in our planet, despite our technology, despite our knowledge and expertise, and because we live in a fast moving economy, claims do happen and bankruptcies do occur. In this case, the credit insurance deploy the third and probably self-understandable benefit, which is the indemnification. Indemnification means that we will pay the money that are missing. Atradius will pay the money that are missing, either when the buyer goes bust, becomes bankrupt, or maximum at the end of 6 months after the initial due date. In any case, I have to say that we take over the collection procedure on behalf of our exporter against the buyer with our own resources and sometimes and usually with our own cost. Because imagine for a Greek company to sell wine to a small supermarket in Oklahoma. How can he know how to collect his money? But no matter whether will we be successful or not, or partially successful, as I said, we pay the money maximum at the end of 6 months after the initial due date of the invoice. So to make the long story short, the customer knows a priori when will he get his valuable liquidity. And to close with this, credit insurance is a unique product in the insurance industry where the customer, the policyholder, in our case the exporter, knows chronologically when will he take the money. So for example, he knows a priori on the 23rd of April next year I will take 100,000 euros from Atradius. So it is really, really, really useful for his planning. Dimitri.
Thank you, Makis. I would like also to because I'm hearing really careful of what you say, and I would like to ask you, is this for all size of companies, or we are talking just for big companies? Because as export consultants, many times, all that things that we are going to discuss, even for FDA, even for the trade alliance that Eleni will explain us, and about Atradius, everybody see the big brands and they're getting afraid of even contacting with you, because they think that their size is not a big size company in order to, let's say, knock the door of the companies. So, do you believe that there is a limit in, let's say, the size of the company that can have the services you offer?
Look, we are not dogmatic, and we service, as we speak, from Greece, many hundreds of companies, either huge multinationals or the vast majority Greek companies. We can insure and provide insurance, export credit insurance, to companies, exporters, whose turnover may start from 1 or 1.5 million euros. The credit turnover can be as like 1.5 million euros, Dimitris. So we can provide this service, or we can start the service with insuring 1 or 2 buyers, just to explore the spectrum of the buyers, and then we can increase it.
And what about let's say, if I am a potential exporter of a service or a product in United States? What are you said before that the steps is, I'm calling your office, I have an appointment, I see your I see the salespersons or the consultants of Atradius, and then you investigate the other part of the contract, right? And you suggest us about how we are going to go on in a contract with them. Is this clear? Is this right? Or you are also consulting us about the other part of it?
Rather the latter. What we usually do is requesting some information about the mechanism and the operation of the exporter. For example, what countries is he exporting to? What terms is he exporting to? Credit terms, 2 months, 1 month, 1 month, 3 months. We also ask him about the frequency of the graduation of his buyers. Has he many buyers or 2 huge buyers? Also asking about his loss history and some other criteria and some other KPIs that we would like to know. The result of this information is called our quote, our opinion. So we give our consultation, our proposition to the customer, to the exporter, and say, my friend, we propose to insure yourself into these points, with this insurance, with this premium rate, with this. We primarily give him our opinion based on our service, because maybe I omitted to say that we are present, Atradius is present to more than 60 countries worldwide, and we do have intel and valuable information about the economies on the major countries where our exporters operate. So this is what we offer to the customers. So not only plafonds, but also opinion of how he should sell.
Okay, and also we can use this as a liquidity. Is there a tool that we use this insurance product or service as a liquidity in order to have a better liquidity, because we are getting more and more expensive the liquidity nowadays, especially with the interest rates and the inflation that we are facing. So how can this help us?
I admit you hit a nerve right now with your question because the expensive financing is rather a painful reality, Dimitris and Paul. You're right that the interest rates are increasing and they will, I believe, they will keep on doing so. So somebody would raise the fair question like, this is nice what you are saying to us, Maki. We acknowledge that via credit insurance we can sell on credit, and we are ensured that in the worst case scenario, we will either be paid by the buyer on the initial credit terms or by you guys in Atradius the maximum of the 6 months. But Exporter will say, am I be able to finance my business during all this period? The answer is being given by the nature and by the mechanism of the credit insurance itself. Because as I said, Dimitri, credit insurance is provided by a credit limits. By credit limits. The credit limits are the collateral should provide the insurance, the security, the collaterals in a generalized form that we provide to the customer. And these are A-rated collaterals because we, Atradius, is an A-rated by Moody's company. So our collaterals are A-rated. So to speed it up, our exporter may well assign these insured by these A-rated collaterals receivables to financial institutions like factoring, houses, banks, funds, or combinations of which, and he can enjoy easier and cheaper financing. And why easier and cheaper financing? Because these financial institutions are covered. They enjoy the A-rated collateral, which we provide, so they can in return provide money, financing, working capital in a competitive interest rate. So it's a really, really good element in these difficult days of liquidity, credit insurance. And let me finish, and sorry for monopolizing the discussion, that 1 out of the 4 policyholders we have, which is insured, is not insuring themselves because they are afraid of suffering a loss. Maybe they should be afraid. This is another chapter, but they do it because they find working capital in this way easier and cheaper.
Thank you, Makis. And I would like now to give the floor to Eleni. And Eleni, I would like to address you the same question for the first of all, you need to tell us about this initiative that was developed from Eurobank. Then I would like to address you the same question if this initiative is also only for large companies. And when we mean for large companies, because in Greece, everybody knows that we have nano companies, as we call them, or super small companies, the SSMEs, because we are a small country and, right now we are starting to reposition ourselves, especially with services. And this is very, very important because services, we are really good. But in production, we are doing our, let's say, first steps in the global markets in order to scale up and not start up. The floor is yours, Helena. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dimitri. Good afternoon to everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. First of all, I would like to thank the American-Hellenic Chamber of Commerce for the invitation and, of course, for our excellent cooperation. First of all, I will mention all the initiatives developed by Eurobank in order to support Greek business in international trade. So, supporting Greek companies to enhance extroversion and innovation has been a strategic priority for Eurobank. In this context, Eurobank has launched a full-spectrum extroversion initiative since 2009 based on 4 pillars. The first pillar is the Exportgate platform. So Eurobank, in partnership with the main Greek export and corporate organizations, designed and implemented the platform of the Exportgate. And through the Exportgate trade portal, Greek companies have access to one of the largest international trade electronic libraries. They can search in one place all import and export opportunities and have access to the latest trade information for more than 180 countries. Currently, more than 5,200 Greek companies participate in the platform, covering all the dynamic sectors of Greece. The second pillar is the Trade Club Alliance. So, in addition, Exportgate members have the opportunity to enter Trade Club Alliance, the first global digital networking platform supported by 14 major international banks in more than 60 countries. And they may find reliable partners using modern networking tools and artificial intelligence technology. It's really important to highlight here that all participant banks follow procedures and controls that safeguard network integrity. Currently, more than 22,000 members participate in the club, and regarding Greece, there are more than 2,000 members on the platform. The third pillar are the trade events. Through trade events, we inform and support companies in their international journey. The trade events are business initiatives, something like workshops, reach the whole of the country and not just Athens. And since 2017, more than 100 events have been held, both in physical and, due to the pandemic, in digital presence. And the fourth pillar, the connectivity initiatives. We have created a number of connectivity initiatives under the Exportgate umbrella. The Go International program is a marketing initiative of Eurobank facilitating the cooperation among Greek companies and international counterparts. As of today, 8 business delegations have been successfully concluded, with the most recent, the Go in Thessaloniki, that took place here in Greece in Thessaloniki, with the participation of all partner banks of the Alliance. And we will close with the trade corridors and the online business convention. And these are targeted business delegations for trade club members. Using the electronic networking tools of the platform, we create the conditions for synergies in the electronic or in the physical world via trade missions. And due to the pandemic, we are moving from physical to digital B2B meetings, with the first digital event to take place with more than 50 B2B meetings in the food and beverage sector. And Dimitris, regarding your question, if all this solution addressed only to large corporate, with the Exportgate platform, we offer to all Greek and Cypriot businesses networking opportunities in the global market and help them find buyers for their products across the globe. So all these solutions address to all Greek companies, not only large companies, but also SMEs from all the dynamic sectors of the country. It is important to highlight here that the diversity in the product category of the participated companies inside the platform. Also, not only large companies, but also mid-sized ones participate in the trade club. Key feature is that 35% of the members are companies from 5 to 35 million annual turnover. And concerning the market of US, there is a diversity of exporters, importers, agents, and distributors, and diversity also in industry and sectors inside the platform. So in order to become a Greek company member of the Exportgate, all it needs is to create their business profile on the platform. And for the Trade Club Alliance, if they meet the necessary criteria, they will receive an invitation to become a member of the Trade Club. Dimitri.
Thank you very much. And the final is, I would like to ask you to name us 3 or 4 sectors that you believe in, that they are potential in the US market, as you can see it from your platform.
So we will see now what a Greek company can find through the platform. But how was this need created? What are the 3 main challenges that companies face in international trade? First, to find the best market and the right market for our products, then to manage trade operations, to learn about regulations and the barriers for the country of our interest, and the most important, to find new trusted partners. So in order to cover the first 2 challenges concerning reports and documents, we will see what useful information about US can find a Greek company Through Exportgate library, they have access to microeconomic, commercial, and statistical reports in order to have a complete business plan. They receive dynamic information about market trends, consumer behavior, and they may identify new business opportunities in US using a database of exporters and importers. They have access to the economic and political overview of the country, the main exported and imported products, and the relevant market reports in order to collect trade data for their product and services. And of course, they can learn about import and export controls to and from US and collect all the necessary shipping documents. So in order to cover the third challenge concerning networking, Greek companies have the opportunity to find new counterparts through the Trade Club Alliance, and the market of US is represented by the Bank of Santander. The US is the largest importer in the world and second largest exporter of goods. Nevertheless, trade represents only 23% of the country's GDP, and US top exports in 2020 were refined petroleum oils, followed by cars, petroleum gases, and auto parts and accessories. Main US imports in the same year included cars, automated data, processing machine, phone system devices, medicaments, crude oil, and automobile parts. The United States is a highly industrial country with high levels of productivity and the use of modern technologies, and key sectors include agriculture, manufacturing of machinery, chemical products, food, and automobile. The main products that Greece exported to the United States are other processed vegetables, cement, and refined petroleum products. So, in addition to food and agricultural sector, the sector with the most promising prospects for Greek companies are the sector of construction material and also electronic equipment. Also, the machinery, plastic, dairy products, and the beverages sector account for a significant export industry. And in my point of view, key industries in terms of services are technology sector, real estate, and of course, telecommunication. Thank you. Dimitris.
Let me thank you very much. And this is a really good opportunity now to go to Tim and to ask him about the FDA. Tim is the expert and the EAS company that we, as the American Chamber of Commerce, we collaborate closely in order to give all the appropriate information and also to make all the appropriate procedures for a company, even if it is small or large. Tim, the floor is yours. You can give us an introduction and then we are going on with some cases that we have. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time and I appreciate the opportunity to speak with everyone today. Exporting into the United States can be overwhelming if you don't understand or don't know the process. However, once you do know the process, it's a fairly straightforward project to be able to move forward. For each manufacturing facility in Greece that is interested in exporting into the United States, the first step is FDA registration. And to start that process, you would have to go through a Dun & Bradstreet Data Universal Numbering System, which is called the DUNS for short, and obtain a unique identifier number from the DUNS system. And what that does is that it tells the FDA that your business is a legitimate business. And then once you have your unique facility identifier from the DUNS system, you submit that to FDA as part of your registration. And then you will receive a registration number from the FDA. This is true for any facility that is manufacturing, processing, packing, or holding food either for human consumption or animal consumption. If the intended If it's intended for the United States, then any of these facilities must have a DUNS number, a unique facility identifier number, and then an FDA registration. If you are manufacturing a dietary supplement or a dietary supplement ingredient, the US FDA considers these to be food ingredients, and so you would have to go through the same registration process. If you are a cosmetic facility, then FDA registration is voluntary. We have considerations for small importers versus larger importers. And it's important to understand that the importer for the foreign supplier verification must be based in the United States. And so the manufacturing facility obviously is located in Greece, or the distribution facility is located in Greece. But there must be an entity in the United States with a physical US address who would be considered the importer, the foreign supplier importer of record. And this importer would be the entity or the person who FDA will contact if there's ever a question or when they plan to conduct a foreign supplier verification inspection. For a small importer, the requirements of the manufacturer or the distributor in Greece is limited. You would need to have a letter that states that you agree to conform to all of the food safety standards that are similar to those in the United States. You do not have to conform to all of the requirements. However, you do need to provide a letter that says that you do manufacture the food in a safe fashion and that the standards that you manufacture that food is similar to those in the US. You would have to have a modified importer or exporter from Greece procedure, as well as a recall procedure. And then the foreign supplier importer that is based in the US would also need to have a letter that states that they meet the requirements, the financial requirements, which is less than $1 million in revenue for the last 3 years on average. For a large importer, the requirements become much more inclusive. And so essentially for a large importer or a large manufacturer in Greece, the company must comply with all of the same regulations that any food manufacturing company would have to comply with in the United States. So you need to have a HACCP plan. You need to comply with the food regulations in the United States. There has to be a specification of the food that's being exported from Greece. There has to be some type of a third-party audit. And then what we call PCQI certification, which is compliance to the FDA regulation for preventive controls, qualified individuals. And so all of those would be detailed in the regulation. But as I understand it, a lot of the companies that would be exporting from Greece would probably be categorized as a small company. And then the small importer rules would apply. Thank you, Dimitri.
Thank you very much, Tim. And now I would like to make a final question, and especially for Tim. Tim, I would like to ask you about a Greek company, okay, that they register for FDA, how long you believe it takes in order to get the certificate in their hand?
So the process is twofold. First step, again, is going through the DUNS system and getting a unique identifier number. And that process can take about 2 to 3 weeks. And then once you have your DUNS number, you go through the registration process with FDA. And the registration process is all electronic. You submit everything electronically in the FDA website portal. And then that process for you to get your registration number from FDA takes anywhere between 1 to 2 weeks. So within a month to a month and a half of time, you should have your registration. Now, there will be no certification. This is not a certification. So it is simply an FDA registration number where the FDA acknowledges that your company is registered with the FDA and intends to manufacture or distribute food intended for the United States. I'm sorry.
So it is possible, it is enough to have the registration number for the beginning in order to start doing business, or we need to complete the process and we have the certification in our hands?
So yes, again, there is no certification. Once you have registration with FDA, that is all you need to begin the process.
Okay.
The second part is that you need to have an entity located in the United States that will act as your foreign supplier verification importer of record. And then it is that entity's obligation to ensure that you are compliant with the regulation, either as a small importer or as a large importer.
Okay, and the final, if we bring some goods for an exhibition in order to come for 10 days or for 7 days in order to be there and to participate in a trade fair or a B2B, and we would like just to give some samples or to present our goods and make a test product there. Do we need an FDA or there is a special procedure for this?
So having an FDA registration is helpful. Those samples, those food samples, will need to go through U.S. Customs. And so as it goes through U.S. Customs, having an FDA registration helps to speed that process. As long as the food is not for sale and it's intended for use as samples, then there is no further need from an FDA perspective to do anything further. However, U.S. Customs will require what's called an advance notice, or a prior notice. So you need to notify Customs electronically that these samples are coming into the United States, and there's some paperwork involved with that. And then once U.S. Customs receives that and they receive the samples, then it'll clear Customs and you're able to take the samples and then distribute them at the trade show.
Thank you very much. I would like you in this point to thank you all for your participation and contribution one by one. First of all, ladies first, Eleni, thank you very much. Gerasimos, Makis, thank you. And of course, Tim, Thank you very much for joining us from United States.
Yes, of course.
Thank you all. Dina, the floor is yours. Thank you.